Welcome to Buzz&Babble. Stories from the internet!
Today I messed up by letting my mom use my butthole Vaseline. This happened a while ago, but I almost busted a lung reliving it today. When I was in uni, I was a Division I water polo player. This means we wore tight swimsuits that are a singular panel with no smaller straps that someone might hold on to. Basically, completely covered from neck to panty line, front and back. These swimsuits are extremely tight and zip up in the back. We often had to do long swim sets where we would swim, then pull ourselves out of the water and do some sort of exercise on land, like a burpee. Unfortunately for me, I have extremely sensitive skin. My water polo suit would chafe my skin horribly, basically creating burns where the suit rubbed against my skin. I would get burns from swimming long distance and get burns in a V pattern where the zipper sat. Water polo suits also ride up like a wedgie, giving me chafed burns in my butt crack. My doctor recommended that I try applying Vaseline to reduce the friction, which I basically did every day. Therefore, I had a quart-sized tub of Vaseline. When I was moving out of my apartment, my parents came to help me out. While we were packing up my stuff, I turned around to see my mom holding said tub of Vaseline, rubbing her lips together as if she had just applied chapstick. The look on my face must have been of utter shock and horror. She just goes, "What?" And I burst out laughing. I told her that's my water polo Vaseline, that I rub all over my body, and that it's not for lips. I didn't mention exactly what unmentionables I'd applied it to. It's not like I was regularly double dipping, but these burns were crazy painful, and there were definitely days where one application was not enough. Fast forward to today, while visiting for Christmas, my mom offered me some Vaseline for my lips from a normal size container that lives in her medicine cabinet. I responded by saying, "You don't use this one for your butthole, right?" We both burst out laughing, and she said I never told her exactly what I had used it for, but it's been almost 10 years, and she's fine, so whatever. Anyway, I think we both have core memories of each other's faces on that day. Her innocently rubbing her lips together, and me wide-eyed in panic. Oh, OP, what to say about this story? Maybe some family secrets are better left unknown? You kept it a secret for a decade, but it's a good thing that your mom just laughed it off too. This one comes from r/MalicousComplaince. Yes, I want my coffee without any coffee. Years ago, I worked the evening shift for a big Canadian coffee and donut shop. If you're not familiar with Canadian brand coffee shops, the cream and sugar are dispensed by machine that is calibrated to preset standards determined by corporate. If you regularly order at the Fancy Green Place or the Running Donut Place, the number of sugar and creams you order may vary depending on how much you actually want. One evening, we had 3 bikers drive in. You could tell they had been on the road for a while. Their ringleader was a stereotypical biker, tall, wide shoulders, big beard, and covered in leather. His friends were shorter and had the whole tough but tired look going on as well. I was the only one working the counter at the time, but it was no problem, as the night had been slow so far. They came up to order, and the following conversation ensued. Ringleader, I want an extra large 12 and 12. What? Okay. Sorry, let me read that again. Ringleader, I want an extra 12 and 12. Me, sir, are you sure? Ringleader, did I stutter? Me, okay, but that's only minion number 1. Did he stutter? No, sir, he did not. So, off I went to make him exactly what he asked for. I proceeded to grab a cup and put it under the sugar dispenser to press the triple button 4 times. Then I went over to the cream dispenser and did the same thing. Now, here's a fun fact. The cream and sugar machines are measured to dispense 1/12 of the cup size you are selecting. So, by the time all 12 shots of creamer were dispersed, the cup was basically full. Gross. I stirred the creamy sugar mixture around before pouring an itty-bitty splash of coffee in his cup, just enough to bring it up to the fill line on the cup. I tried asking him if he wanted me to heat up the coffee, in quotations, but I was met with the same abrupt rudeness. Obviously, this guy knew what he wanted and did not need me to tell him what he was ordering. I finished up their order and watched them drive out into the night. Now, typically this is where the story would end. The big angry biker man got his nasty sugar cream drink and left me sitting there wondering if the rest of the world had been drinking their coffee wrong this entire time. I was lucky enough to be working the next afternoon when he came back in. Mr. Ringleader came back alone this time. When it was his turn to order, he shuffled up to the counter. I could tell he must have been embarrassed as his voice was a lot softer and his demeanor was that of someone who knew they effed up. The man actually apologized and confirmed that his coffee, again in quotations, had been utterly disgusting. It turns out he was used to ordering from the fancy green coffee place, and they use way smaller measurements for their cream and sugar. Once I knew what he was used to ordering, I made him what would be a triple and sent him on his way. I still cringe and wish I could have seen his face when he took a sip from that initial coffee. OP, that sounds absolutely disgusting. For the fellow Canadians here, it sounds like OP used to work at the local Hortons, eh? Personally, my first gig was working for McDonald's and they used the same dispensers. There was a customer that would come in regularly to order a large coffee with 5 creams and 5 sugars. and to watch the amount of sugar that would dispense from the machine when hitting that button 5 times, like, I honestly have no words for it. When I think back on it, it's just gross. But the thought of someone ordering 12 creams and 12 sugars, that's bonkers. You can tell this story is truly Canadian because the biker actually comes back and apologizes for being a D-bag.
Buzz and Babble. Stories from the internet.